All right, so we unfortunately do not have a minion right now, so we will. I think um, we will just take a moment to remember anyone who has passed away in this season, whether in our 100 Center Street congregation or in your own lives. If there's anyone, I'll read the list of people from 100 Center Street, and then uh, I will um, I will invite you um, to add your names. So in the month of Sivan, we remember Arthur Freeman, Harriet Covell, Rosalind Kane, Ray Stife, Eve Glick, Edith Tuber, Rita Gans, Rita Feinberg, and Marvin Engel. If you are commemorating a yard site, please feel free to unmute yourself and share the name of the person you're remembering. Go ahead, Ellen.
My brother, Daniel, and I miss him.
It's not been that long, right? If I read the date correctly.
6 years.
Anyone else remembering anyone today? So since we are not able to sing, well, we will now turn to the Psalm 92 on page 27. And since we can't say Kaddish later, we'll sing a sort of a contemplative version of this song, which I hope will bring some measure of comfort. Let's see. Someone else joined us. Oh, we have Lois. Oh, we're in good shape. We're in good shape. Good deal. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulezamer L'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Ve'emunatecha ba'alelot. Ve'emunatecha ba'alelot. Lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ale asor v'ale naver. Ale asor v'ale naver. Ale higayon bechinor. Ale higayon bechinor. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. We'll read in English. It is a psalm, the song of the Sabbath day. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak and your faithfulness each night. Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up. You gladdened me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork. How wonderful are your words, Adonai, how subtle your designs. The arrogant do not understand. The fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms, only to be destroyed forever. But you, Adonai, are exalted for all time. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil. My enemies gather against me. My gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear. The righteous flourish like a date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our courts, God's courtyards. In old age, they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming, Adonai is upright in my rock, their rock in whom there is no flaw. Rowan, would you be willing to read Psalm 93 on page 29?
Sure. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, in English.
Yes, English, please. Yeah.
Right. Girded in strength, the earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time, you were enthroned, you are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai, the rivers rise up their roar, the rivers rise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time.
Nikolot Maim Rabim Adiri Mishpiriam Adir Bamaram Adonai Edotech Ne'em Me'od Leveitcha Nahava Kodesh Adonai Liorech Yamim. All right, so we will continue now with. We don't have quite a minion, so I apologize that we were not able to muster one. We're close, but we're not quite there. So we will turn to, let's see here. We'll turn to the first bracha right here. Do I have a volunteer to read in English on page 39b? Anne, are you willing to read for us?
Yes,
Lovely.
trouble getting unmuted.
There we go. Yeah, so the alternate first bracha would be great.
39b.
Yeah.
Going all the way, I'm reading praise Adonai.
Yeah, Baruch Atah. No, not praise Adonai. That's the Baruch. We can't do it.
Okay. Baruch Atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space. Are you hearing me okay?
Yep.
You completed your work of creation on the seventh day, calling this day from one evening to the next, the holy Shabbat, and gave this day of rest in all its holiness to the people of Israel. Creator of day and night, rolling light before darkness and darkness from light, making day pass and bringing on the evening, distinguishing day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch Atah Adonai, who brings each
Thank you. Uma'avir yom u'mehivi laila. Uma'avdil ben yom u'ben laila. Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam. Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'mariv haravim. Feel free to join me behind your mutedness for Havat Olam, which is on page 40. Havat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu V'shochveinu uvkumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'mitzvotecha לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגב יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגב יומם ולילה, ויעבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. All right, so we will turn now to page 41 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה עם שמות תשמעו מצוותיי אשר Adonai Elohechem Emet. This is our enduring affirmation binding on us that Adonai is our God and there is no other, and we Israel are God's people. So we'll now be on page 44. U'malchuto b'ratzon kibalu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Israel v'cha'anu shira b'simcha rabba v'yameru chulam mi chamocha v'elim Adonai mi kamocha Nedar b'kodesh norah tehilot osef helel malchutecha ra'u banecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu v'yamaru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו חזק מיד ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גר ישראל. So do I have another volunteer for reading? Is anyone willing to pick one up? I don't know if we do. Lois, are you willing to read something? I don't know if you have it in front of you. So I think I'll just read it.
Okay.
Good, Lois.
Yeah.
If you're willing, page 45 in English.
Allow us, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life. O sovereign, spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Excuse me. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people, Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Thank you, Lois. So we will now turn to page 46 for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, l'dachatam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, l'dachatam berit olam. Vein hi uvein ben Israel oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, l'dochotam bechit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashemayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, l'dochotam bechit olam. Ubayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, l'dochotam berit olam. All right, so we'll turn now to the Amidah. Our minhag in this group is to read, to sing together the first three brachas of the Amidah, and then to continue silently, and then to come together at the end for Shalom Rav. So please feel free to rise as you are able for the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agil tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Lecha, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umeli Goel Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Foked Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atah Rab Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Ba'al Giburot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hametim. Page 49. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelu chasela. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. אתה קידשת את יום השביעי לשמך. זה אדוני אלוהים מלך ישראל. Feel free to take your own time to complete your silent Amida, and we will turn to page 51 for Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Nasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Nasim Leolam. Ziata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Nasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Nasim Leolam. B'to b'necha levarech et Amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Nasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Nasim Leolam. Nasim Leolam. Nasim Leolam. All right, so we'll turn now to a page that I do not have handy. Let me actually, I think I can get it. Just give me one moment. I apologize.
You're looking for Misha Bara.
It's on page 173. If you have a book, it's on page 173. If you don't, I'm doing my best to pull it up, although for some reason I can't seem to, no, that's not what I wanted. So as we're looking for it, I will ask you to bring forward in your mind anyone that you would like to remember for healing today, anyone who is in need of healing. And I will stop the share for a moment, and I'll go around and feel free to unmute yourself when I call on you to say the names of people that you're remembering. Rowan?
I'm thinking of my grandmother who has been falling regularly recently. Her name is Helen.
Okay, good. Ellen? Okay. Anne?
Larry Tobiason and Michelle Sufi.
Thank you. Sandy?
Ellen Zuniga and David Engel.
Marbeth, anyone who needs healing? Want to take that as a no? Lois?
Judy? Stacy? And that's it, thank you.
Sylvia, anyone on your end? Okay. Carol? And then Judy. Oh, Carol's okay, good.
My very good friend Joan Lichterman, she has lung cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Definitely pray for Joan. And Judy?
Goldman.
Okay, Judy, say your list again because you were muted. Okay. I know it's Coco, Cantor Shirley Klein, Emily Razel, and Faye Kravitz. So, and I will now go back to sharing the Misha Berach on the screen. I hope it's visible to everyone. It's kind of small letters, isn't it? Misha. I'm going to mute everybody so everyone can sing without having to worry about being. Okay, good. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekol HaBeracha Imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBeracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. So I don't have any extensive comments today on the portion, but I did just want to mention that I read an interesting article today about the idea of Jews bowing, because that issue has come up recently as our world, our country has finally begun to again grapple with the reality of racism, of disparities in policing, disparities in healthcare, all disparities in education, all kinds of disparities. And we had a remarkable moment where even the NFL apologized to Colin Kaepernick over the whole issue of bowing during the national anthem. And of course, there's this notion, right, which I think most of us probably have, most of us who are familiar with Jews in this country, right, that Jews don't bow, right? We only bow to God, right? We bow in the Amida, we bow on the Baruch Hu, and we bow during the Aleinu, right, where it says it's upon us, right, to adore, right? And we should bend our knees, right, and bow down to the holy blessed one, right? And so there was an interesting question: what is the Jewish take on bowing for in this case? Should we be kneeling in solidarity? To me, the question was pretty obvious. The answer was pretty obvious that of course we should be kneeling in solidarity, because it's not a particularly Jewish act, right? It's an act of solidarity, but it's also a very sacred act, and it was really powerful for me to see a picture of our maintenance team yesterday. The entire maintenance team of from the boss down to the through all the housekeepers, they were all kneeling in a line during the 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence that we marked for in honor and commemoration of George Floyd and of all the victims of police brutality and extrajudicial killings. And so just thinking about when I was going through when I was talking earlier in the service about how often we say that we should sing out to God, right? It also says again and again, it says we should bend the knee, right? We should bend the knee to God. And so if we think of, again, as I said before, we have all kinds of different ideas of how we understand God, but if one of the ways we understand God is that of the ideal of love and justice, right? That is something that we want to bow down before, something that we want to make ourselves accountable to. So I trust that you're all following to some degree what's going on in our country in this remarkable, disturbing, and strangely at times very hopeful moment of protest, of pride, and trying to figure out what comes next after the pandemic, and what comes next after we've really begun again, I think, a process of grappling with the sins of our past. So I'm willing to open the floor if anyone would like to add their own reflections on this theme. So please feel free to unmute yourself and offer one, and then we will close our service after that.
I'll say something.
Thank you, Sandy.
This has gone on for like 400 years.
Yeah. It's gone on since the first
Slave
was forced to come here and work for,
was
right. Yeah. So when the administration says that they're going to deal with it quickly and efficiently, it's, I'm obviously, this is not going to be an overnight process, right? This is going to, the problem has taken a long time to develop, and so a solution will not be a quick one.
I think that racism started when the first white foot came onto this country, because those people were very they wanted to wipe out the what we now call what used to be called the Indians, and a lot of the Native Americans now called that don't like it. But it's something that is endemic here.
I mean, I would go further, Ellen. I would even say that racism is something that is somehow endemic in the human heart, and there's just different ways that humans find to not just to uh, find communities and differentiate, communities from other communities, but to do it in a hateful and violent way. We were just talking about this the other day, actually, in our Jewish learning, how we see this even in, unfortunately we see it in the Bible, right? We need to grapple with the stories that our tradition tells of our ancestors, uh, wiping out the previous inhabitants
Yeah.
of the land of Canaan. Whether it happened in historical reality or not, right? That this is the story we tell about ourselves. That story used to be an honorable story. At some point, thank God, we seem to have wisened up a bit and begun to realize it's not an honorable story. And it's something we really need to grapple with. Thank you, Ellen. Anne, you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, you said whether it happened or not back in historical times. I think we've seen enough in our lifetimes to know that it probably did. And we have all those stories of they going and conquering people and then wiping them out. And I think we can confidently assume that it's going on for
The only thing I meant is that there's no archaeological record of invasion that is depicted
Yes.
in the book of Joshua.
I
Yeah,
haven't found it yet. Sandy.
I would say you haven't found it. You could say that that. I mean, I think as I said, this was an honorable. This used to be an honorable story. Like this is how nations were supposed to behave with one another at some point. And so I think it's just a very. But I actually do think that the reality is really much more complicated, and there's much more mixing up of people than that most groups would like to imagine or acknowledge. Lois, do you want to say something?
Yes, it's going to take a long time and it's going to be a very hard road to paths to get to the point where you will welcome neighbors as you welcome the people that you came and settled with. People like to be in communities where they are familiar with the backgrounds, and that's where it starts. Then things started to change when we started to intermarry or take plane rides, the new advancement of flying from one place to another, going to colleges with mixed races, mixed religions, that started change. Not until you get people moving into the same communities will it definitely end. Mixed marriages at one point, I think it was about 10, 15, 20 years ago, when you saw a lot of mixed marriages, and that was supposed to end the hate, the racism. People look for a scapegoat, and that should not be.
We were talking about some lines a couple days ago. Also, themes come up again and again. Right? 20 years ago, it wasn't as common as it is now to see marriages where there's one person of color and one white person, and I think it's all for the good that there's more and more of that. But obviously, the change needs to happen in each person's heart, not just in demographic numbers. So, well, thank you everyone for your words of wisdom. I really appreciate it. And I will let's now move on. We will close with the Elenu and then with Ose Shalom. We're in the morning service now, so it'll take me a little bit to get to Elenu. Please feel free to rise as you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach. I'm sorry?
What page are we on?
Oh, in the book,
205.
yeah, in 205, if you have the book in front of you, you can turn just to page, hold it, excuse me one moment, page 56. Is also the page. Leheinu l'shabeach Adon hakol, lateit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam helkenu kahem, vigoralenu kechol hamonam, ve'anachnu kor'im, umishtachavim umodim. לפני מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, וגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עמד מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, וישיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. כן נכבד לך אדוני אלוהינו לרומם התפארת וזכר. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יחיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. All right, so we are unfortunately without a minion, so we will say Oseh Shalom for the intention of remembering Daniel and all those others whom we have lost. Oseh Shalom b'muma. Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. 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 All right, so let's see here. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Well, we can say, I've unmuted everyone so everyone can say Shabbat Shalom.
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 Shabbos, everybody, and thank you all for
Thomas,
being here. It's so wonderful to have Rowan with us. Thank you, Rowan, for sharing your evening with us. Really wonderful.
Yasha Kala.
Go for me.
Great. And we will have one more song, a celebration song, and remembering that this is Pride Week, Pride weekend, and so it should be a weekend of love, right, and a weekend of justice, and so we will go out with Eight Dodim. It's a time for love, and I will put Eight Dodim. I'll put it on the screen because it's not in our book. So I will put it in. I'll put it on our screen, and let's make sure it's there. Okay. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and here we are with Eight Dodim. Eight Dodim Ka. Oh, Yevgani. I forgot to mute everybody. I apologize. Good Shabbos. Eight Dodim Kala. Oh, Yevgani. 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 Yaparecha Hayene. Ein Beitzu B'Himoni. Yaparecha Hagefen. Ein Beitzu B'Himoni. Yaparecha Hagefen. Ein Beitzu B'Himoni. Yaparecha All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Great to
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
hope to see you sometime soon, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Just touch the button at the bottom, Miss Sylvia, and turn it off.
What?
Just touch the button at the bottom and turn it off.
That's not what I was doing.
It's finished. The service is finished.